So the summary of the cons of development finance. So as well as the pro being that it can be fast, it can also be slow. So there are a lot of cooks within the process. There's your valuer, there's your quantity surveyor, there's the lender solicitor, there's your solicitor, there's the vendor solicitor. All of these people who have all got to work together really quickly in order to get the deal through. And naturally there's going to be delays with some of them through the process. So the only problem with development finance is if all of these people aren't managed correctly, it can be a really slow process as opposed to a really fast one. The other problem with all of these professionals is obviously each of them wants their slice of the pie. So as well as it obviously being slowed down by there being so many people, it can make it more expensive as well, because you've got to pay for the quantity surveyor, you've got to pay for the monitoring surveyors, visits on each tranche drawdown, you've got to pay for both sets of legals, you've got to pay for obviously all of the other bits and pieces that come up throughout the process, and there may be commitment fees and things like that as well. So it can get quite expensive. The other con, similar to bridging finance, is that defaults, delays, etc. can cause massive issues and massive financial implications. So if your development runs over, for example, you could be charged default interest rate, you could be charged extension fees, there may even be repossession. So it's worth keeping in mind an exit plan and an exit strategy as well to ensure that you're safe if there are any delays or any sort of reason to extend. So you could look at development exit finance, for example. That's the equivalent of a bridge, which allows you to get out at the point where you hit practical completion, almost like a sales bridge. So you put it on a bridge while you're putting the property up for sale. It may be that if you're building 2 and 3 bed houses, that as well as putting them up for sale, you may decide that you want to keep some as well. So it's worth keeping in mind all of these different exit strategies just in case you get to the end of development finance and maybe you've got a 12-month term, you get to month 12, you've only just finished the build, you need something to enable you to then go and sell them or refinance them. The way to get around that is communication. So actually a solution to defaults and delays is making sure that the lender is constantly kept within the loop and making sure that they know if there's going to be a delay, if they know that there needs to be an extension or something like that. Because if it hits month 12 of a 12-month term, they're going to be less amicable to doing an extension or not charging default interest rates, whereas if you went to them at month 6 or month 7 and kind of preempted that there was going to be a delay or a requirement for an extension. The way to get around that as well is when you approach a lender for development finance in the first instance, make sure that when you look through the agreement in principle, when you look through the offer letter, that you understand the terms of a default or an extension. And as long as you've got that knowledge and obviously work with the broker, then hopefully you can avoid any financial implications of those moving forward. But that's just a very quick summary of the cons of development finance.